Ladies and gents, Casual Gaming Dad here, and uh, we need to talk about Diablo 4. And the reason why I'm making this video is because we are very close to release. At the time of me making this video, we are just over a week out for the early access for the release. And for those of us who have pre-ordered the digital deluxe or ultimate edition. Now, I have not done that yet. I purchased the standard edition. However, I am more than likely going to upgrade, and I'll maybe talk about that later. But Diablo 4 is one of the most important game releases for me of my life, honestly. And I got to give you a little bit of background first about my experience with Diablo and why I don't say that lightly. So, my first Diablo game was Diablo 2, vanilla. And I don't even recall who introduced me to it. I was still relatively fresh into my PC gaming career. I was playing mostly Half-Life at the time, the Deathmatch, and then eventually Counter-Strike and whatnot. But Diablo 2 came into my life, and it's still a part of my life, interestingly enough. The Diablo series, and there hasn't been any other ARPGs that have stuck around the way Diablo has, and I've played a number of them. I'll name off a few. I've played Path of Exile. Definitely, I can see a pretty well-made game that has regular updates. It's for a specific type of gamer. It's less so for the casual, like myself, I'll say. Even just beating the campaign alone takes work and effort and has challenges, and not that I'm opposed to a challenge, it's just not what I go to an ARPG for. That's typically not the type of experience I'm looking for. I played Grim Dawn, I played the base game, I played the expansions, I played Reign of Terror. So I almost couldn't remember. That is a mod on Grim Dawn that simulated the Diablo 2 experience, although it had some changes made. And I've made a lot of videos in the past about that mod. And I thought at the time, before we got Diablo 2 Resurrected, that was for me, the best Diablo 2 experience I'd had. I really liked a lot of the changes and additions, plus the Grim Dawn mechanics where you could specialize in two classes. I thought it was really, really interesting. And if you haven't given it a try, you may want to consider. If you have Grim Dawn and if you like Diablo 2, it's worth at least looking at because it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And there have been others as well. Torchlight, that series. I tried briefly a little bit of Infinite, but I don't know. I just didn't really stick with me, I guess. I don't know if I gave it too much of a try, but I did play Torchlight 1 and 2 quite a bit, not 3. And there are others. There are others I even am still looking at, Last Epoch being probably the notable one, although some recent things they've done, we'll see. I'm probably going to wait for their full release and not right now. I'm not so sure about some things, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. But anyways, I started with Diablo 2. I played it a lot. I mean, a lot. And it's the only game that I recall when I was younger, as a young adult, that I would stay up very late, sometimes all night playing, and just that constant chase, right? And that addictive quality and the atmosphere and the music, It wasn't until much later that I ended up playing Diablo 1, and I have to say that I probably would have been immensely immersed and addicted to Diablo 1 if I'd played it when it came out in 96. I didn't have a gaming PC at the time. I wasn't aware of that game, and when Diablo 2 came out, it seemed just like an improvement on the game. But there's something really special about Diablo 1, no doubt. I've played the actual game itself. I've played the Diablo 1 experience that Diablo 3 offered once a year at a certain point. I've also played the Hell mod. And if you haven't heard of that, it's a mod that was created for Diablo 1. It's created by... He's a major Diablo 1 enthusiast, and he spent many years, over 10 years, working on it. And he's made the Hell mod 1 and the Hell mod 2. I played both of those. The Hell mod 2 is pretty exceptional, I will say, and it runs really well on modern PC platforms, and it looks great, and it still has the same feel and that atmosphere, and the music that I have on the background right too. It's so good, And he's even working on the Hell mod 3. I will most certainly take a look at when that's complete. So if you haven't played Diablo 1, or if you have and you ever have the itch to play it, you should check those out. You really should. I recommend the Hell mod 2 right now. It's a bit more polished. It's got more additions to it as well. It has more to do than just the playing through the main campaign game. So it's pretty exciting, and there's a little community around that. Fast forward to Diablo 3's release in 2012. I remember how high the anticipation was, and I also remember logging in at midnight on the release to try to create a name for myself, because back then, if you made a name, only one person could still have a name for characters. Now, of course, you can name things whatever you want because of your battle tag. It's a lot simpler. And I couldn't get on the servers because there were so many people. That the anticipation was extraordinary. It wasn't just me. And I think that we really got a sense for that when in 2018, when they announced Diablo Immortal. And there's the out of season April Fool's joke and whatnot, and the memes that came from that. But, outside of the jokes, people were really disappointed. They're really disappointed because there's a very large community of gamers like myself that find the Diablo series very near and dear to their heart. And that's very much how it is for me. I've been asked this question before, like, what's your favorite game ever? And it's very difficult to answer. There's been so many great ones, so many good ones that I played growing up as a kid. Okay, it's much easier for you to ask me, like, what's your favorite Zelda game? Or what was your favorite Metroid game? Or what was your favorite Mario? Well, Mario for me would be Super Mario Bros. 3. For Zelda, interestingly enough, Link's Awakening. The DX version, actually. I had the DX. I played the Switch one. I had that at one point. I gave it to my son. And, yeah. And then, although I haven't played many of the Zelda games in a long time, Metroid is Super Metroid, although Metroid Prime is quite an extraordinary game, I have to say, the first one. So it's much easier to answer that question. But when I sit back and I reflect and I think about the games that have touched me the most, that have influenced me the most, that I've spent the most time on, a few come to mind. A few. And Diablo 2 is one of them. And, so what does that have to do with Diablo 4? Am I one of those hardcore purists, Diablo 2, fanboys who's mocking the game and stuff? No, I'm not, actually. I see Diablo 2 for what it is. And for me, it is a game that played an important role in my life. it's a game that had many unique and outstanding features for itself, and a great atmosphere, some very addictive qualities. The itemization is outstanding and unmatched by most modern games, and there's just something there's just a level of quality that went into games 15 to 20 years ago that seems to be missing in today's day and age. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, I've said in another video I posted when I told a little story about myself, is, there's a lot of rich and powerful people out there that really dug their claws into this industry because they saw the potential for making lots and lots of money. I mean, gaming has blown up to be where it's just this enormous entertainment, and there's so many people that are into it and enjoying it. I'm really happy about that. I'm happy about that side of it, that there's so many others who can have these experiences and enjoy them as I have almost all of my life. Diablo 4 is really important, though, and the reason being is because in many ways Diablo 3, while there are things about Diablo 3 that I enjoyed, and I still spent 1,000 hours on the game, it just it didn't quite hit me the same way that Diablo 2 and even eventually Diablo 1 did. Probably the cartoony graphics, right, the atmosphere changed. The gameplay was fun, though. The itemization was terrible. And every time I'd gone back to Diablo 3 over the years, I would go back for 1, 2, on some occasion, 3 weeks. And that was it. It was too easy. There wasn't really any challenge, and the system, it was too simplified, and the way the skills played out, there was very little depth. It was too simple. And this is coming from a casual gamer like myself. It was too much. And since I wasn't into the competitive scene like some people are, there really wasn't much of anything for me there. But because it's what we had, and I found Diablo 2 at the time difficult to go back to because it really shown its age, which is why I'm grateful for Diablo 2 Resurrected. I've put a good amount of time into that game as well. I think it makes the game a lot more playable, and there are people who still play with those little graphics and, whatnot, but, for me, I find that difficult, to be honest, But anyways, I digress on that. Diablo 4, there's a lot riding on it. It's the last franchise that Activision Blizzard has that is of import to me. If Diablo 4, I should say, is for whatever reason a flop or doesn't stick very well, then that would probably be it, And for all those people who clown on others for giving Blizzard money and buying their games and whatnot, see, this is why I'm not going around making big videos complaining about them and whatnot, even though I do have some opinions about the choices they've made and whatnot, and people say Blizzard this, Blizzard that. You guys gotta stop separating Activision and Blizzard. They're one and the same. And I also think that if you love a franchise like Warcraft or Diablo or StarCraft or whatever it may be, and you have a hard time letting that go, I get that. I totally get that. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing wrong with that, But people on the internet like to spout their opinions, and they like to cancel others. It's become this popular thing. I don't think that's right. I don't. And if you're participating in that, you know what? Shame on you. Honestly. We're all gamers. Why are we shaming others for playing games they like? What difference does it make? If I came back and did that to you about a game you enjoyed, regardless of my reason, it's irrelevant. It's inappropriate. I'm not going to do that to anybody. So I'm not going to sit here and act embarrassed or ashamed that I love Diablo and that I am immensely excited about this game release. And it's easily the most anticipated game of the year for me. And there's a lot of great stuff coming away. I mean, what a year. We are stacked. Stacked this year. I've got some other really highly anticipated games, and I've played some of them already, but Diablo 4, no contest of the year. I mean, I've been waiting and waiting for this release. And I was at BlizzCon in 2019 when they announced it, and with my son, and I'm really glad I went that year. That was quite a really enjoyable experience, and I created some great memories with my son too, you know. And to be there, to be able to play the game, and it's where I fell in love with the druid. I got to play it, and it's going to be my first character, and I'm really excited about that. And this is a really important game because for me, I really want to be able to continue to have this experience in this world of Sanctuary for years to come. And so there's a lot riding on that, you know, and I know that, and I know that I might end up getting disappointed. You know, I don't think I will on release. I think the game looks great, and I have no doubt that I'm going to play it for hundreds, if not thousands of hours. I have no doubt about that. My concern is definitely with the future of the game. There's certainly no pay to win in the game yet, and a lot of people say that. The key word is yet, and I know that that's a possibility because, again, people are greedy and they want to make money, and even though they have lots of money, which just always puzzles me, you know, because most people like us, you know, we're more than happy to just be able to make a living, an honest living, provide for our family, and, you know, these people have so much money and they just want more, you know. So I mean, I won't buy into that. I won't. But, you know, that's a personal choice, and for those of you who do, then, you know, that's your personal choice, and I respect that. I'm not going to clown on people about it. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to make a separate video about that topic, actually, and, you know, how I feel about it. But for me, Diablo 4 this is it. This is the big one. You know, because the future of the franchise really hangs in the balance, and it's scary for someone like me. It is. You know, I know at the very least I'm gonna have some fun for a period of time, and if that's how it's gonna be, then so be it. And so be it. I'm just gonna make the best of it. I hope it's not. I hope that I'll be playing this game 10 plus years from now. If not, you know, then I may occasionally return to Diablo 2. Maybe even Diablo 3. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one, to be honest. I think that sun has set on that game for me. But, you know, and there are other games too. There are other great games in my life. It's just that this one seems to have played, this franchise, I should say, seems to have played one of the more important roles in my gaming life. And as I've said in another video before, gaming has really been a huge part of my life, and it always has been, and it likely always will be. So that's all I want to say about it. And, you know, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Diablo 4. Are you excited about it? What was your first Diablo game? And I'll see you in hell real soon. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.